If you're going to spend the time asking people what they think, you need to be ready to hear their truth, and you need to be ready to embrace it because they won't tell you their truth twice.
When I joined the Columbus Foundation, the question was, how would we do community well-being? And we kind of started by saying, let's look around the world. Let's see how people have measured community well-being and how have they improved it. And so we looked at tons of different places, tons of different organizations, and the one thing that kept coming up is that we would be a fool not to do this in partnership with real people. And what it meant was not only did we want to measure and talk to real people to understand what are your impediments to well-being, what's the stuff that stands in your way, but then we also wanted to co-create solutions with them in the room and learn from their expertise to figure out how do you get through those challenges, right? How do we understand them more deeply and more authentically? And then how do you create solutions that will actually land and that will actually stick? So I think with time, it became really clear that that was really the only way to do it. Human-centered design is designing with and for the people who will actually benefit from the solutions. In our case, it's bringing those people inside the rooms. It's bringing them onto the teams. It's paying them for their time and their expertise. And it's actually working with them to understand and create solutions. Designers are those of us who have been trained professionally in design. Co-designers is kind of our term of art for community members who join us because they're living these problems, and their expertise is the fact that every day they wake up and this is just their life. So we're asking them to give us that expertise and to join our teams so that they're our guides. They're the most important people in the room.
If you were to talk to us before we started, we would have explained things in such detail to you that you would have thought that we were the lived experts. We were clearly not.
I'm a lived expert at breaking down barriers for places that I feel like I ain't supposed to belong, and then making everybody else feel like I'm supposed to.
The humbling part for me was acknowledging that I didn't have all the answers, that my team didn't have all the answers. After reflecting, you now have to constantly look for lived experts, and you have to engage in something similar to this with every level of programming that you're doing.
So if you got a whole bunch of people who ain't never been in the community that you're trying to affect, you can't have that. So you also need somebody who is directly impacted by the thing you're trying to change. It doesn't do any good for a bunch of high-powered, highfalutin people to go in there and try to change a poor community, and you don't have a representative of that community there.
One of the things about the human-centered design sprint process was that it really enabled all of us to just strip away some of the pretenses of who's who has what title, who's from what organization. I think when you bring anything forward to any sort of community, when it is a finished product, all wrapped up in a bow, that doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of room for input. And I think because this process is a little messy, and I mean messy in a good way, that is what enables evenness across the board amongst all of the people in the room, and gives people that opportunity to say, my voice is going to matter in this because it's not all figured out yet. We're figuring it out together. We were all trained in how to do good community engagement work. We learned best practices by watching our facilitators, but then we were also really able to engage with folks in the community, these lived experts, to help broaden our thinking. It's an iterative process going in not quite sure what to expect. It is a little nerve-wracking at the beginning where you're not quite sure where you're going and where things are going to end up. And it's really just important to trust the process. And once we trust the process, you realize it's more the journey than the destination.